This is Gavin Wumbold's project. So it's a board game, and how you play is it's a free-for-all, and it's a 4-player game, but we only have 2 people for right now, so we'll just play it with 2 people. And so how it works is you roll a die. And it's a 6-sided die, and you use that to move clockwise around the board, starting from the first one, so like that way. And when you come into contact with another player, you engage in battle, which every player has 20 health at the start of the game, and it'll go down as you get in fights based on how much the person rolls for. And these cards, which if you get on the space, if you land on it, then you get the card and their abilities, and you can only use 1 per fight, and you can only hold 3 at a time, and you can't pick them up if you just like go over it like that. You have to like land right on it. And yeah, once a player dies, the player who eliminates them can pick them up, or they just put them in the middle right here, and they just aren't in the game anymore. But each one of these has special abilities, each one of the characters that you can pick to play. So they're called passives, and the brute, who is this guy, he reduces an attack from an enemy by 1. So if an enemy rolls a 5, it'll only do 4. And this little goblin guy, he dodges enemy's previous attack if he rolls a 2 on their turn. So if you're fighting and he hits you for like 5, and then you roll a 2, you do 2 damage, and then you also no longer take that 5 damage, you only take 1 damage. And then the elf, who is this guy, he can block an enemy's previous attack if you roll a 6, which is like what the goblin can do, but it's only if you roll a 6. And then the hunter, who's this guy, he does 1 plus damage if their attack is a 3 or below. So if you roll a 3 or anything below that, it'll add 1. So a 3 will turn to 4, 2 will into a 3, like that. And yeah, and then these abilities, all of them, there's fire, ice, lightning, and then there's movement abilities like run and switch. And the fire ability just does 6 damage. The ice ability does 5 damage, but then it cancels the enemy's next turn, so if you do a turn, it'll do 5 damage, and then it should be their turn, but then since you use that, it'll just skip their turn and it'll be yours again. And then the lightning, it does 5 damage, but it takes the damage that the enemy does in their next turn and cuts it in half. So if you rolled a 6, well, if you use the ability and then it'll do the damage, and then on the next turn, if the other player rolls a 6, then it'll just turn into a 3. And for if it's 1, it'll just stay 1, because you can't really go any lower than that. And if you counter it, it'll take 1 damage off the attack and stops after effects. And the counters ice counters fire. So if you use that ability after the person uses it on you on your turn, then it'll stop the after effects and take 1 damage off. And then fire counters lightning, and then lightning counters ice. And the movement abilities, which is run, you can move 3 spaces in any direction from the enemy you are battling. And then switch places with anyone on the board. So switch, like, if I'm here and he's here, we just both switch places like that. And then if run, if the goblin got it, he can move 1, 2, 3 that way, or 1, 2, 3 this way. Whenever he wants. But movement abilities in battle, you can't use them after you take 10 damage. But the fire, ice, and lightning abilities, you can use those only in battle, but the movement abilities you can use whenever. And yeah, so let's play. Do you want to go first? Doesn't really matter who goes first. Gotta move clockwise. Easy. It's right, it's in the space in front of you. Okay, so now we battle. Since you hit me, you go. You roll the first. I took 2 damage, so now I'm 18 health. You're 17 health.
Okay.
There you go. Now I'm 15 health. You're 16. Oh, I was 15, right? So now I'm 13.
Yep.
You're
I'm 15.
15.
Aha.
Oh,
You're down to 10, right?
no, aren't I like 8?
I thought you were at 15.
You were 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 8.
Okay. Okay.
You're 13 now. I'm 4. What are you at now?
What was I at before?
Weren't you at like 14?
Yeah.
Or 13?
13, I think you said.
Yeah, so now you're at 8 and I'm at 4. I'm dead.
You're dead.
So now I just, yeah. Then you just put your guy in the middle, and then
Okay.
this guy's just, after a fight, you gain 5 health back. And you can also trade in, actually no you can't. So you gain back 5 health, so now you have like 13 health?
Yep.
Yeah, so now you have 13, and you would just keep going until you're the last one standing, and then once you're the last one standing, you win. And then abilities, so if you got this one, with this, you would be able to move. You would use it, put it in the middle. You can move 1, 2, 3 in every which direction you wanted. With the freeze, so in a fight, it would be, they take 5 damage, and then it skips the next enemy's turn, so you would hit him with the 5 damage, and then he would roll again.
Okay.
And then,
So if I had the run, I could run to you and attack you.
and then with switch, if I'm over here and he's over here, and there's somebody coming up behind him and he doesn't have much health, you can just switch, and every time you use an ability, you just put it in the middle, and you switch.
Okay. Cool.
And then,
It's fun.
yeah, fire, you just do 6 damage, which is just automatic when you use it, and you put it in. And then, lightning, you do you would do 5 damage, and then when the next enemy rolls, so say he rolls not a 1, but like a 3, that would get turned into just round down or up, probably up, so that would get turned into like a 2.
Okay.
So it'd only do 2 damage instead of 3. And yeah.
Cool.
And it's just play till the last one standing. Yep. And so yeah, I think I maybe could have added more abilities, or maybe like more stuff to, maybe more movement abilities, and what actually could have what makes a character better than the other. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fun to make, and I think it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something we could play a lot.